Hey everybody, it's Chris. So you know if you're hearing my voice prior to the start of the show, then something's up. Well, prior to the recording of this episode, Fulford and I went on a trail run. So by the time we got done and sat down and recorded, my energy level was about a 2 on a scale of 0 to all the numbers in the universe. So to make up for my lack of enthusiasm throughout the recording you're about to hear, I've decided to come on first and basically yell at you. So where do we start? Well, hey, I know. How about here?
All right, on my mark, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
It's the way you walk, it's the way you talk, it's the way you shine. It's the way that day, and a walking on, and a walking night. And I'm sorry not to follow me, and it's all over. One thing I know is this is my life.
Shit's not fair. There we go. We'll see you next week.
Beetlewarts.
No, absolutely not.
And antics ensue.
Antics ensue.
Here's the male, it never fails. It makes me want to wag my tail. And when I come, I start to yell,
Here's your letter.
Having been on the African continent, I can attest to the size of their prawns.
Look, Fat Albert doesn't rape people. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Rudy does. Cheer up.
We're all
gonna die.
This is my life. Yeah.
Record! Is it on? Are we going?
I think it is going.
The numbers are moving?
Yeah,
The numbers need to be moving for us to start.
Yeah, I forgot I'd paused it. So.
Yeah, I'll just cut all this out. All this talking about the stuff, and
The thing in the eye.
I'll take that out of there.
Why is he showing us the pen?
I'm not sure.
I don't think he's showing us.
So, I know that normally we want to talk about things that are fun, and then we want to talk about things that are going to make people happy. I know that the thousands of people who come to our podcast do so as a break from the monotony of
First
life.
2 words.
Cheer up.
There you go.
Clay Martin is dead.
Clay Martin Croker?
Clay Martin Croker has passed away.
54.
At 54.
At 54.
Wade, you know Clay Martin Croker, right?
No. I know that Radio Raheem died this week. That was heartbreaking.
I don't know who that is.
Do the right thing, Radio Raheem. I love you, hate you.
Yeah.
That's a music
Fight
guy.
the power,
isn't
the whole movie.
So Clay Martin Croker was the voice actor for Space Ghost.
Not Space Ghost.
Well, for the show Space Ghost, sorry.
Well, he was the voice actor for Zorak.
Yeah, Zorak, sorry. Space Ghost Coast to Coast was the actual show. So.
You know, I never actually watched a whole episode of Space Ghost Coast to Coast, but I think I've seen every episode of actual Space Ghost. Whatever.
Space Ghost Coast to Coast was actually really funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the show that came after it, Cartoon Planet, where they kind of just scuttled all the interviews and just was
it? Just them.
insanity.
So
The brack. You do the brack. Do the
What?
I think I've
the
seen
brack
every.
that- Come on. You do it. No.
I'm not feeling it.
do
I'm not
brag.
feeling it.
Come on.
Brack.
I'm not feeling it.
Do
right
it.
now.
He'll sneak it in. He'll sneak it in before the episode's out,
All
I'm
right.
sure.
Okay. Well,
Put your pants on, Mama.
so just wanted to bring that up. So Croker's Croak.
Zorak and Radio
Croker's
Raheem.
croaked. And Arnold Palmer, the golfer.
God,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
gotta throw in
I
his
know.
fucking Arnold Palmer.
He made a great
like
drink.
anybody's heard of that guy.
Caps threw in a sports reference.
No, I threw in a golfing reference. I don't know that classifies
Well,
as
yeah, it's
sports.
a hobby.
Yeah, that's more of a hobby, which kind of leads into our
Speaking
hobby
of hobbies.
discussion.
It's a sport.
Hey, welcome everybody to episode 11 of Cheer Up, We're All Gonna Die. 2 ones side by side.
It took a long time to get there.
You know, I
Twin
think we ought-
Towers. We're taking this show down.
Okay, we're gonna have to cut that out.
I think we should start every week with people who have died.
You know, this podcast is not called Cheer Up, It's Evil.
We don't have enough time in the show for all the people that have died.
You can replace the theme song with Jim Carroll and
No. So yeah, episode 11.
Yeah, that's...
We've done 11 episodes. Well, we've done 10 episodes. We may do 11 episodes.
No,
We've started 11. That doesn't mean we're
There's
gonna
no
finish
guarantee
it.
this is gonna.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Day ain't over yet.
I don't want to get into a semantic argument.
So where are we at? What do we got? We're gonna start off over where we start off.
Well, I mean, according to you, we're starting off with personal accounts, so it seems that we should start with personal accounts. Who gets to start the personal accounts, Chris?
Who would like to start the personal account?
Beard, why don't we start with you? Because I hear you've got something scheduled that might be happening soon.
Yeah, cheer up. I'm getting a vasectomy.
So is my puppy.
Wednesday, the 5th of October?
Towards the end of the month, early November.
I was actually kind of hoping that I would be doing it with someone that I knew.
No, I think your puppy is getting his balls removed. That's different from a vasectomy. That's a castration.
They just kind of stick a hot wire in there and screw it.
It's like the Egyptian mummies. They just kind of stir it around with a stick in the brain. That's how they're going to do it, Fulford.
They fill it with spices.
Spices and myrrh.
Well, they did give me a Valium, so maybe it won't be as bad when they stir my brain inside my dome. So.
Is that so you don't bolt out of the chair?
It actually is.
That's in preparation for the election.
It is supposed to stop anxiety. So my neighbor who had one said that they gave
But
him.
it's a reversible process, though, right?
If it has to be.
Where are you going? Because I need to schedule one, honestly, because I keep having children.
Well, you could stop having sex with your wife, or you could stop pretending that the children are yours.
Well, that's true. They look more like Dana than they do me.
So weigh your options.
Well, I mean, so not that this really matters. I wasn't going to go this way, but in Jacksonville, the McKeever Clinic is really the only place to go to for urologists and vasectomy, so I'll be going there.
Is that because Jacksonville frowns upon sterilization?
I'm sure First Baptist Church has some sort of lock hold over something.
No, the Baptists don't mind. It's the Catholics that don't like the vasectomies and birth
That's
control.
a good point. I feel like that's in some way, shape, or form the Baptists still hate sex in general.
No, the Baptists are the ones that don't mind if you prevent it beforehand, but if you do get pregnant, even if you can't do anything about raising it, you ought to carry it to term.
Yeah, and then put the burden on the state or the rest of the tax-paying society to make sure that the child doesn't go to hell in a handbasket. That seems fair. I'm sure your wife has a lot of experience with that, Brian.
With the adoptions and yeah.
No.
The interesting thing that I discovered about vasectomies is some studies show that if you have a vasectomy too young in life, that it could lead to dementia. So the good news for me is that according to the study, anyone who's getting a vasectomy over the age of 44 years is not quite as susceptible.
How does it lead to dementia? That's what I want to know.
I don't want to.
I think that's rather logical.
I don't.
Is
well,
it?
When
it will tell us.
Well, no, I was going to say when it comes to hormones, your body is just a biochemical engine. So if you create an imbalance there, I don't know. I haven't read any study or anything about loss of testosterone, spur, or something triggering dementia, but
you still produce the
testosterone. It would
testosterone.
warrant further research.
Yeah, because you still produce testosterone. All it does is stops the little swimmers from getting out.
Yeah,
sperm.
No, the little swimmers. I mean, like little tiny people that swim. Just keeps them from getting out. I don't want them out outside of the pool.
Dwarves, midgets.
Those types.
Yeah. According to the study, it says that this Dr. Weintraub states that he
it's Dr. Weintraub.
That vasectomy may raise the risk of the rare dementias by breaching the protective barrier between the bloodstream and the testicles.
Ah.
Yeah, the actual thing you're worried about is something called PPA, which is primary progressive aphasia.
PP.
funny every time.
I think it's pronounced PPA.
When the barrier is broken, the sperm become exposed to the bloodstream. In response, many men who have had the surgery produce anti-sperm antibodies. These antibodies may affect the brain, causing damage which can lead to dementia. But this is only speculation.
So the things your body produces to kill your sperm actually end up killing your brain.
Right. So dickhead has a new meaning.
Interesting.
So I'm done with that.
Okay.
Chris is looking at his phone. So. And I
can't see that.
I didn't have much on personal accounts. I just thought it would be funny.
I just think that it's all of it's the vasectomy talk making you uncomfortable, Chris.
Honestly, Brian and I went for a run before the podcast. And so, like, right now, I am at my energy level.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
is just slightly off the floor.
Well, and he also heard he heard the story already. And it was quite frankly, from my personal account, it was either this or my friend whose niece just came out as being a lesbian and how everybody is pretty much condemning her and she's now being Baker acted multiple times. And I promised I wouldn't say anything about that. So
You must be crazy to be a lesbian.
you must be. Well, they're all Baptists, so no offense to you, bro.
I'm not a Baptist.
Oh, is that how it is now?
It's like, well, the Baptist. I'm like, I'm no offense. I'm okay.
He's not a passive Baptist. He's just Baptist.
So we've been waiting for this for a while, and due to issues, I was going to say issues beyond our control, but it was your fault last time, so it was actually within our control. We need a birthday recap, and apparently we're also getting a Halloween pre-brief. So Wade, personal account.
Pimp away.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's a couple months removed now, almost 2 months now. But I figured we'd been planning to talk about the birthday, and the first thing that needs to be clear is that it's not. I throw a large birthday party as often as I can. It's not every year, but it's fairly with some frequency. And by big birthday, it's a rather extravagant affair with theme parties. My wife and I, we like theme parties in general,
And
but
dogs.
take over an entire. We take over a dive bar if it's in. We hold it in Tampa. Redecorate the whole thing like a rock and roll 1930s cabaret, and
Plus tentacles.
plus tentacles. So it's like if Cabaret the musical and H.P. Lovecraft and CBGB's somehow had a love child, that would be it. So it's full of circus performers and burlesque girls and hard rock bands. Mostly because it's everything I like. So it has its roots in, when I was a kid, and I always had big birthday parties, or, I had a ton of people over at the house. My mom made a cake. It was always a big deal. And then I went through a period of time where, with my first marriage, where I had no birthdays. We really didn't celebrate them. And my first birthday after leaving my ex-wife was, I had friends say, well, what do you want to do for your birthday? And I was like, I don't know. It had a bad taste in my mouth. And they're like, no, really, what if you could do anything you wanted to? I'm like, I don't know. I'd have a party with everybody and beer and so on. And my favorite band would play. And they're like, well, why don't you do that? And it made me think, well, let's see how hard it is to pull off. And so the first one was just the band played, and we had beer and pizza and
Okay, hold it real quick. Pimp the band.
Gargamel
With an exclamation point.
with an exclamation point. Without an exclamation point is some death metal band in Finland or something. But with the exclamation point is the American band from Orlando, and they have been together and playing together since the 90s. I mean, they're our age. They have the same backgrounds, and I just really identify with their music. They're funny and angry at the same time. And they are a gumbo of just about every musical genre you can think of in one song, usually. But that's how it went. It always makes me, and I always get asked, well, is it a big event? Is it like at a special number? Like you're only supposed to do a big deal for your birthday if it's some sort of a number that ends in 0 or 5 or something like that. And I have a grandfather that was my dad's dad that I never really liked, but I always respected him. He always, he was a larger than life character. He was first sergeant for Patton. He got a battlefield commission in World War II, so on and so on. I mean, there's a million stories about him, but he was kind of an asshole. But he always said life is nothing but a bunch of milestones, and if you don't make any milestones, or if you don't create them yourself, then you don't have anything to remember. So I make a big deal out of my birthday, and I use it as an excuse to do, celebrate stuff I like. But part of that is liking to share things with everybody. So this year we hadn't done it last year. And so it was, this one was particularly special because I combined it with a couple other things that were lingering out there. My wife had lost her wedding ring about 2 years ago. It just fell off her finger. It just slid off. And she travels a lot for her work, so we scoured the whole west coast of Florida and couldn't find it. But she never replaced it because it would just be buying another ring. There was a whole backstory to how she got the first one, and so there wouldn't be any sentimental value to it. So I knew she would never get one unless I somehow tied it to some sort of event. Second piece was when our actual wedding, as some folks can attest, was another big themed event, and we joked at the time that we were going to do something every 5 years to renew our vows, just to have an excuse to throw a big party. And last year was 5 years, and so this year was 6. And it came and went, and we didn't do anything because life happens and shit, and you get busy. But knowing all that, this year I had planned to throw a surprise where I would present her with a new wedding ring, and we would have a vow renewal ceremony. The singer in Gargamel, Mandaddy, was our wedding officiant at our actual wedding. And so he was already there. So I had scripted out a whole mini ceremony because a lot of the same elements, but this time they were a bit more rock and roll. We had an Alice in Wonderland theme the first time. And so I gave her the ring, and we had all sorts of, it was a big event. And it was really sentimental and special, and we had a huge turnout. And I funded the thing. This thing's it's an expense, and so I created a GoFundMe site to see. I don't need any presents, so I did it to see if I'd get donations, and I raked in enough money that, based off of that and what we pulled in off the door, that we ended up paying for everything, and then or most everything, and donating $500 over it to the One Orlando Fund.
Nice.
So that was just gravy on top of the whole event, and it was a one of a kind experience until we have the next one. So it's always fun. And I get asked, why do we? It's not just trying to create to create memories, which is part of it, but I always do these themed events because there's something in me that likes to create this otherworldly experience, it's not necessarily transcendental, but you get the feeling for a couple hours, you're not in your normal environment, you're in another place, and you feel like you're in this mythical environment. I mean, we had last year was much smaller, but we had a dinner party that was a 1930s horror themed, where we had a seance, and the house turned into an escape room kind of puzzle thing. But everybody showed up, everybody participated, everybody came in costumes, and it really had this electric vibe that you were somewhere else. It's kind of the thing you get when role playing. The reason why we game is the same thing. It's to have this other experience. It's why people go to church, I think, is so they have this shared communal experience. But for me, it's creating these sort of themed events. And so that was the party. And that's, from my perspective, I don't want to go into all the details of everything, but I mean, Chris was the only one of you three that was actually there. I don't know if he has any.
It's all those things he said. It's madness. It's.
I actually think transcendental is actually a good word, Wade. I mean, I'm not sure it's any different than hiking. I mean, since you do both. I mean, the experience when you're in the presence of a grand mountain or a beautiful lake or just giant trees. Or I mean, it's transformative. It takes you out of your mundane existence and reminds you that you're.
It's not just a party; it's a show.
Yeah.
It seems like
on
more than
many
that.
levels.
I mean, I'd like to think that anybody listening to this is actually inspired to look at days like a birthday or just even small things and realize, what, I should make it memorable. The whole wedding ring element is actually probably the greatest part of it, because it's taking this artifact that has a historical relevance related to property and whatnot, and you're taking it and you're making it something that becomes something else. I mean, as he said, it's the first ring had a backstory, right? To get another ring would be dishonoring that ring to an extent. So I think it's a hell of a story, and it makes you look not quite as evil. So so you listen to our podcast, you're not that evil,
and you listen to things other than
metal. Is that accurate?
I know.
Yes, yeah, that's fairly accurate. Oh, and to turn it out, it also turns out, I don't want to discount it because this was also a huge part of it, is my wife also planned a surprise for me. So she had no idea that there was a whole ceremony planned. She had no idea she was getting a ring, but she had planned to surprise me. The whole thing is, a burlesque rock and roll cabaret. Well, she had got a furry, a panda suit, like a mascot outfit of a panda, that she then put pasties on and had a bikini on and came out and did a striptease in a panda suit.
Nice.
And then apparently had our friends choreograph themselves as background dancers, and they came out and did a full dance to a song on top of it all. And I had no idea any of that was planned. Apparently it wreaked havoc with our MC trying to deconflict all of the various surprises that we had planned. But
So, Wade, I think that the question on all of our minds, did you have sex with your wife while she was wearing the panda suit? Or, at the very least, the panda head?
No.
I feel like that was a missed opportunity.
It's a really big panda. that, and to be honest, furries kind of creep me out.
Good to know.
A couple years ago, at one of my parties, the woman that's a friend of ours, she owns the Performing Arts Theater and is a huge activist in Orlando, Blue Star. She actually came out in a bunny outfit and did a dance and then took it off and everything, but slightly disturbing as well. And it takes me back to when I lived in Panama City, Florida, which is out in the Panhandle. On the way out of town, if you were trying to take the back roads from Panama City to Fort Walton to the west, you would drive past this decrepit, old, dilapidated, dust-covered petting zoo. And the way they would advertise people to go see it was this guy or woman, I don't know what it was, would stand in this mangy old pink bunny outfit. And it had the big bunny head with the big oval plastic eyes and all the black paint on the pupils was all scratched and peeling off of it. And the pink fur was covered in filth and dirt and was like matted.
It's a Rob Zombie animal.
They were going Donnie Darko.
And it stood and the head would slowly turn and move its head really slow as you drove past, and it would follow you with that demonic grin, and it would speed up every time I went past because I'm like, there are fucking people hanging on me in that place.
That actually reminds me. One Christmas we went on rather than go to the mountains, we went on a Carnival cruise, and Evan was I think 17 at the time. Have you seen the Carnival cruise mascot? It basically has the ship has this look like wings at the top. Mm-hmm. And so this guy's walking around. It's like a blue outfit.
Oh yeah, and he's got like the stack with the wings.
Exactly.
It's like
scared the shit out of my 17-year-old son. I would try to find the guy, and I would say, Evan, let's go get a drink or whatnot, and I would bring him there, and he would haul ass. So Wade, I understand, not personally, but through experience, that those furry things can be creepy. So before we transition out real quick, we did have a Halloween pre-brief on here as well. Did you want to say anything about?
Oh, I was just going to say the next such event is Halloween. My wife and I, we like Halloween and Christmas about equally.
Do you celebrate them the same way?
With massive amounts of decorations, but we usually don't throw a Christmas party, although we're thinking about doing a Krampus party this year. But
Halloween parties.
Krampus is at, by the way, Halloween Horror Nights this year.
Right, but
our Halloween parties are fairly epic. In half my garage, the attic above it contains nothing but Halloween decorations, and the Wheel of Pain will make its return, and you will be seeing the invitations here.
The decorations are awesome at his Halloween parties. He has a giant spider that comes out of the fireplace. I mean, like a 5-foot, 6-foot spider, and there's spider webs that hang from the ceiling with little tiny spiders in it. So, yeah, it's really
cool.
See,
this is the sort of shit that you should cheer up We're All Gonna Die about. Create a party for any reason at all whatsoever. Celebrate life in any way, shape, or form that doesn't harm anybody, that either scares the shit out of people or makes them smile.
Yeah. My wife's birthday last year she wanted a slumber party like she was a little kid. So I went to. I went to. Yeah.
He's not disagreeing.
Not disagreeing. So I went to every thrift store in the neighborhood and bought every towel or every sheet and blanket I could find that was teal and pink, and then drug out the guest room mattresses and turned the entire living room into a blanket fort.
Nice.
So tacked to the ceiling with lights. I got a inflatable wading pool and filled it with plastic balls. So we had a ball pit, and we had balloons filled with party games from little girls' birthday parties. We watched The Last Unicorn and My Little Pony and got shit-faced and rolled around. I didn't realize the ball pit would be such a hit, but it was it was a giant glitter-covered sparkle-apocalypse and one more theme party down the drain.
Living wrong. Just I spend my time literally bitching about how these holidays are man-made and irrelevant. All right, we're segueing out of this because I feel awful now.
It's my duty is done.
You are the weak and evil. Synthetic jeans.
Synthetic jeans. All right, this ties into cheer up, we're all going to hike.
Okay.
Because you instructed me that I can't wear any cotton.
Hey, what'd you wear on today's trail run, Chris?
Cotton.
How'd that make you feel?
Hot.
You gonna wear cotton when we go hiking?
No.
Okay.
No. As a matter of fact, I went through my entire wardrobe trying to see what was cotton and what was not. And probably 97.3% was cotton.
Okay.
I have a couple pair of jeans that I wear all the time. I didn't realize those were cotton. I thought denim was denim.
Denim?
Yeah.
It's a form of cotton.
So I'm looking at the tag. I'm looking at the tag of the first pair of jeans, and I notice that they're 100% cotton and 100% algodon.
So they're 200% something.
Stay with me. Stay with me.
200%.
How does that?
Stay
How
with
does
me.
that work? Is that even
So-
a real thing? Okay. Yes, and
So I wasn't so much concerned with the fact that I didn't know what algodon was, but the fact that they were 100% cotton and 100% algodon.
Makes it 200.
Yes, exactly.
Well, it's 100% per leg is what they're doing. Yeah.
So I'm thinking to myself, is it such a mixture that they've done such a great job of mixing these two that they've actually become the same thing and they can both be 100%? So I look on the other pair of jeans, I look on the tag, and I was right. They had done such a great mixture of these things that cotton and algodon were actually the same thing, because algodon is Spanish for cotton.
That's why you asked us not to look it up.
That's why I asked you not to look it up.
so this reminds me of my.
So it's 100% regular cotton and 100% Spanish.
Spanish guy.
Which is very
Below
hot.
the knee, below the knee. That's Spanish.
Dana's dad, whenever he would buy shirts, he'd always say, "Get an extra large grande for me." So we would say, "Dad, grande is Spanish for extra large or large." But every time he goes, "Oh, it's an extra large grande."
That's his way of saying it's really fucking big.
That's Spanish for granddad. So that's my synthetic jean story and my moronic.
You need the moisture wicking pants that zip off at the knees.
Moisture.
Ooh, wicking.
Yeah, you actually do need that, by the way.
Yeah, I
I'm
have.
gonna have to buy some of those.
I have.
No, again, but it's one of those. It's one of those investments where you can get like REI's brand, right? I think it's
That word.
Yeah.
which is
Investment.
like it's like maybe
That
$80.
means money.
Yeah.
Hey, wait, did you just say $80 for a pair of pants?
Like we don't talk about the $20 pair of socks I want you to buy.
That's an investment.
But no, yeah, wait. I mean, you know full well.
Yeah.
I mean, $80
I have
is
to-
your pants and your shorts. So
Yeah, and I have two pair, and you end up wearing one like for a week. Or
no, yeah. Again, this is if you're-
$80.
But,
So I'm in. If we go on this hike,
Mm-hmm.
I'm investing $100 in a socks and a pair of
let's
shorts.
put this in context.
No.
You don't need these unless you're doing like multi-day hikes, and when you're going, I would, and Wade can attest to this. If you're going, if your elevation losses and gains are significant, like let's say you're doing a 4 or 5 day hike, and you're going to see maybe a 5,000 to 6,000 elevation gain. You're starting at 6,000 feet, maybe you're getting to 11. Well, the temperature change is going to be significant at that level. So to pack light, you'll want something where you can convert from short pants to long pants based on the weather.
Short pants.
Yeah, this is your first outing, so you don't need to get specialized gear. But if you experience the fact that I didn't realize I could lose that much water through my taint, or you get rained on and you didn't realize my crotch could get that red.
I know about red crotch.
So that's when you go.
I have that problem day to day.
Yeah,
As the Yankees,
I don't,
Damn.
I don't want to go hiking. Well, we seem to do hiking every podcast now, which I'm totally okay with. But I mean, if you look at the gear that you might want, so let's say socks $20, and this is you're bringing one thing: good pair of socks for $20, a good pair of underwear for $20, your convertible, I call them convertible pants for $20.
So my football pants that I got at the Salvation Army for $5 aren't going to cut it.
They're going to be fine for what we're doing.
Yes.
But I mean, you're talking about gear that you could.
Football pants.
To Wade's point, you could actually bring one pair of underwear, one pair of socks, which you should never. You should always bring 2 pairs of socks and 2 pairs of underwear. But and you have all this gear that everything else in your pack could basically be food. And then if you're going a long way without water,
Ooh, I like food.
you can pack 6 liters of water, whatever, to carry you through. So again, I'm not saying it's cheap. I'm just saying that when you're hiking, you want to buy shit that's functional, and if you have to spend money for it, it's better than dying. How's that?
Well, we're gonna have to discuss this because
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say it's not money. It's not like you're just buying a pair of shorts. It really does make a difference. I'm one of those people that I didn't think there was a difference in specialty clothing, etc. But it makes a huge difference. These kind of things, literally, when you get hot, you can vent them and cool. You can control how warm you get by how much you zip the vents open and close. If you get rained on and then it stops raining, they dry out like in minutes, not in hours or days. They dry out that fast. It's literally amazing. I've been soaked through in a rainstorm and been completely dry half an hour later. It's fantastic.
I want you to be comfortable.
I
It
want to
also
be
takes a
comfortable.
long time for for water and rain to soak through them.
Well,
I also don't want to spend $200 on clothes that
I'm just telling
I'll
you.
use maybe once.
Well, I hope that wouldn't be.
Yeah,
the
that's
case.
the
Just it.
Yeah,
If
you don't
you're
use
going to
it.
just use them once, then there's no
Yeah,
point.
Wade, it's funny. I was having a talk with Chris about, and I know we've got off topic here like we do, but I was having a conversation with Chris about what shoes to get, and REI was having this sale on a couple pairs of Solomons that were really good. They were maybe $20 more than what he was going to spend on his other shoes, which were fine, but it's Solomon. Solomons are really good shoes, and we had this conversation about the boot for the ankle support, and then the fact that these Solomons weren't water resistant, but they vented well. And in the South, really a good water resistant shoe it's an awful thing because if you sweat, it's never going to dry. It's going to take for freaking ever for your boot to dry. So conditions warrant it. If you lived in New Hampshire, boot all the way. I would recommend. So.
All right, I'm out of here.
All right. So so I guess to sort of transition out with that, hiking's never a bad thing. It's my understanding that Ginger was putting the lives of people visiting the happiest place on earth in jeopardy.
Awesome.
That's fantastic.
He was trying to
That's kind of a
take
broad stroke.
children away from their parents and create bad memories.
To shave 3 minutes off a drive.
Yeah. Really, just leave earlier, Brian.
Well, okay, so moving.
We put him in a bad place.
You have to talk about it.
Yeah, I do have to talk about it. Getting out the door in anywhere with 3 small children in any amount of time that's less than an hour is almost impossible to do. So we were trying to get in, big plans. We're going to get to the park second it opens, be in line, go.
Wally World.
Yeah, Wally World. I mean, exactly. So we were already an hour and a half behind schedule at that point.
So long I go.
Yeah.
And how long does it take to get to Orlando?
No, we were there.
Oh.
We had left Friday afternoon, stayed Friday night.
Oh.
Okay.
On property?
No, we were 3.5 miles away from Disney. Literally like 3.5 miles from the Magic Kingdom. Gates to the Magic Kingdom. Yeah. So it's not like it's that far. It still took us. You what?
Might as well be the moon.
Yeah, exactly. With 3 small children, it should be.
In Orlando traffic.
No, there was no traffic because we went off of not the turnpike, 419, 423. It's like whatever it takes.
Oh, over by the Gaylord Palms exit?
No, the other side. We were on the other side.
Chris is going crazy right now.
So you go down I-4 and then you get off on exit.
Hey, over Macho Grande?
Champions Gate.
I did that for you. All right, I'm sorry, Brian. So you're
no, we're right there at the entrance. But it goes from 45 to 35 really fast. So this cop is sitting right there in the median. So there were other cars going around me, zooming past me. So I pull up, the dude points at me. He's out of his car, he points. Then I pull over.
You wave back.
I waved back. I thought about waving back. Hey, welcome to Disney, and zoom. So I don't even know how he clocked me because he said I was going 52 and a 35. And he asked me, he said, do you know why I pulled you over? I said, I don't know, really.
You're a dick.
I'm not back.
So the whole time, Dana's saying, be nice, because I'm already kind of up here.
He's not just being passive aggressive.
Yeah. This is one of those ones where it's like, okay, we said an hour and a half ago, and we're still not in the car. Let's get in the car and go to this happiest friggin' place on earth.
And Dana's looking for my back neck to sit on right now.
He's got a sports car in the red zone.
So I mean, that was nice to the guy. So I gave him the registration. Well, we're in the van. So Dana pulls out the insurance card that's expired.
Oh,
we don't have a
congratulations.
We don't have we have updated insurance. We just don't have the updated card. So Sam, bless his heart, he keeps asking questions. And he's like, why are you doing this? Why is this happening? Why is this? And I say, because God hates us.
Oh, no. and
that went over like a fart in church.
And your wife did what?
The whole building memories, and it's like out the window. She's like, they're gonna remember this. So then Ben, my youngest, starts saying, God hates us. God hates us. He keeps saying, God hates us. God hates us. So,
that's not a dude you want to get on his bad side.
We're gonna have to stop the podcast. There's nothing more to talk about. You killed the podcast.
It was horrible. It was terrible. I feel so bad. And so thankfully, the cop did let us off with a warning. So, because I told him, I said, I was
hear you say
bad for the kids.
No, he didn't hear me say it, but I said, he's like, why did you pull
off? Because he heard your child. God hates us. God hates us.
Son, Jesus loves you.
No, and it was an Asian cop. He was like, Asian or something. Some Asian. He was like, I don't know if he was Korean. He could have been Japanese, Filipino.
Are you trying to say they all look alike to you?
Yeah,
Brian?
pretty much. So.
You don't want me to follow up my lynching joke in last podcast with? Okay.
So thankfully we did get off with a warning.
Okay.
Because I think I got off with a warning because I told him.
Wait a second. You're gonna know if you got off with a warning.
Yeah. Well, no, I think we got off with a warning because I said I don't think I was going any faster than the 4 other cars that were around me that you let go.
Did you say it like that?
I didn't say it like that. I said it more in a stellar way. I was more diplomatic about it. So I don't remember the exact word.
You left fucktard out.
Yeah, you bastard fucktard.
You Asian fuck.
So thankfully we got off on that one. So I got off with a warning. Everybody was happy. We got into the park. Had a good time.
Really? Was everybody happy?
Everybody was happy. After
God
that.
came around on the whole thing.
Yeah.
God came around in the end.
I want to know how Dana addressed the "God hates us" comment. Was it just
Well, when they got off with the warning, she said, "See, God doesn't hate us."
Was it a blank stare or was there dialogue?
Oh no, it was a blank stare.
Okay.
She's like, "Really? Great. Now they're gonna remember this." I mean, she's whispering this to me. So the cops running my tags. I'm thinking, okay, there's probably an arrest warrant out for me at this point, And but yeah, so we made it there, and then to the whole furry thing. Yeah, the whole furry thing scares people. Sam and Dana went and rode Splash Mountain. Will didn't want to ride it, so me and Ben and Will went into the Country Bear Jamboree. Will liked it. He said the figures are a little creepy. The animatronics are a little creepy because they're big furry bears.
Robots.
Well, and they're old. It's
And
not
they're
like
old.
they don't move fluidly.
Yeah, they don't move fluid. And I took them to the Hall of Presidents. I made everyone go to the Hall of Presidents. Which,
so now they're afraid of presidents?
yeah, Wade's doing the Country Bear
Just
Jamboree.
like the rest of the country?
No, but they've updated the Hall of Presidents. They actually move more fluid. So
Is it haunted now?
it is pretty haunted. No, it was cool. It was a
Do
good
they have
trip.
Obama?
They have Obama. They
Those
have
are
all
great
of them
dudes.
up to Obama. And there was somebody
The
behind us.
Lewinsky part is hard to explain.
But you know, at the end of Hall of
Hillary,
Presidents,
wash
they go through the presidents. They put a spotlight on them. So they got all 44 or 40. However many presidents we've had. 40.
9.
Well, I know we've been on
it
like
nine?
44th president, but
I know it's more than 44.
It's like
no, it's 40, 45th.
46.
Is it 46? No, we're in the 46th presidency.
Oh, sorry, yeah,
But
okay.
we only have like 40. I don't
Well,
know.
and whoever's elected president, really, can we count them as a president?
Because I mean, you know,
Just a
Obama's been
placeholder.
president twice. Clinton was, so I mean, so they put spotlights on all of them. So we get to Obama because at the end they make a big deal at the end, and the current president is Obama. He's standing up, the little animatronic guy standing there, and so you hear some people applaud, but the people behind us are saying "and goodbye" really loud. So I'm like, I bet they're voting for Trump.
Is that our segue?
That was our segue.
I guess it is.
At least they didn't go string him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
I think that's how you translate that. At least in
Well, yeah.
Well, there really was no. I mean, we could segue into additional, conversations, but
Segway.
I kind
This is
of.
all. This is you.
This is my fault.
This
isn't
is
it?
your fault.
All men are created equal. Well, it's not true. Because some are smart, some aren't.
The family subscribes to a racehorse theory of human development.
When you connect two racehorses, you usually end up with a fast horse.
Secretariat doesn't produce slow horses.
They believe that there are superior people, and that if you put together the genes of a superior woman and a superior man, you get a superior offspring.
You have to have the right genes.
I have a certain gene, I'm a gene believer.
Do we believe in the gene thing? I mean, I do.
Have great genes and all that stuff, which I'm a believer in.
Well, I think I was born with a drive for success.
I was born with a certain intellect.
The fact is, you have to be born and blessed with something up here.
God helped me by giving me a certain brain.
It's this, it's not my salesmanship.
It's what?
This, you know what that is? It's the brain power.
I have Ivy League education, smart guy.
I have like a very, very high aptitude.
I'm pretty good at English. I always did very nicely in English.
I mean, like, I'm a smart person.
You're born a fighter, and I've seen a lot of people, they want to fight, but they can't.
Some people cannot genetically handle pressure.
I always said winning is somewhat maybe innate. Maybe it's just something you have. You know, you have the winning gene.
Frankly, it'd be wonderful if you could develop it, but I'm not so sure you can.
You know, I'm proud to have that German blood. There's no question about it. Great stuff.
I just laughed as hard as I have in weeks, and I'm now ready for.
Yeah, Wade needs to come down.
You guys want to talk about vasectomies again, or no?
Sure.
We covered vasectomies.
So, I mean, I just wanted to gloss over this because we had the debate was last night.
Yes.
I understand. Wait, did you watch the debate?
I did.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so these two bozos can only get through like 30 minutes of it because.
Oh, I didn't even get that far.
Okay, because
That constitutes bozo.
well, you didn't
Not
see
being able to sit through that horse shit.
You didn't see my chart in my garage, the bozo chart about what
didn't see
actually.
that.
Yeah, it was actually it's bozo.
I'm not good with charts.
Yeah. I was gonna do the Martin Short voice. I can't think of it from Saturday Night Live where he's the dancer.
I must say.
Yeah.
Oh, Ed Grimley?
Ed Grimley. No, it's not Ed Grimley. It's the one where they're the two guys in the pool.
Oh, look at the
dancing.
I see you.
I see you. No, you're not angry at him.
I don't swim very
That's
well.
That's it.
synchronized swimming.
No, so there was a really good article. So if anyone watched the debate, you really didn't need to watch a lot of it. But Trump came across like a child.
Yeah.
Like a child who gets mad at somebody and who just starts hurling insults. One of the things I wanted to, there are Vox. If no one listening to this, or if you guys don't go to Vox.com, actually really good news stories. I find them interesting.
Go
news
to
stories.
Vox.
So, there's the one story I was looking at that Trump interrupted Clinton 51 times. She interrupted him 17 times.
I mean, are we really counting the number of interruptions?
Oh no, they will do that.
Have you ever watched sports?
I mean, seriously, we got to give it a score.
Somebody count everything.
So the narrative behind this is that from a feminist reading of this, women are used to being interrupted by men. Men are used to taking an authoritative position, and so if you watch the whole debate and even part of the debate, you would have seen that Hillary sat there quietly, let Trump do his thing, and then she would answer questions. And so some of the conversation surrounding that was, women are used to that. Women are used to, a man sort of saying, "Oh no, honey, you don't know what you're talking about. I'll interrupt you," and blah blah blah. So, but your point is valid. Is that really a relevant statistic, or is it?
Yes.
Or is it just indicative of someone being a huge dick?
Well, see, I watched it here while FaceTiming with my wife in St. Petersburg, and that is her number one pet peeve in a boardroom. My wife's like a senior executive for her company, and
she's a lawyer. Let's note that.
Well, she is an attorney, but that's not her job. Her job is a trust officer for a bank. But she will often be like the one woman and a younger woman in a room full of about 40 gray-haired white men. And you see a lot of stories about the military in the news, but the sexism we're light years ahead of corporate America when it comes to rampant sexism and the number of times she has to remind her boss that what he just said is illegal is mind-boggling. And so whenever Trump would talk over Hillary, she was just like, why is the moderator allowing that? He was
talking over the moderator too. He's talking over Lester Holt the whole time.
Yeah. And they gave the moderator kudos because he was better than Matt Lauer. And I was like, this guy has no control over what's taking place.
Yeah, they tried to make the argument that Lester Holt had this grasp of the importance of silence. And I'm thinking, well, silence is good like in a classroom when you're trying to get people to struggle for the concept. And as a teacher, you don't want to impose thought onto them. You want to let them struggle with it. And then eventually the awkward silence, someone will inevitably speak up. But you have to let the students control it. So yeah, Wade, I actually thought that was interesting. I didn't read the whole article, but the snippets I thought was like, man, that's a Lester Holt apologist. He didn't control it. He was like the guy that started it and then closed it, like the doorman. Lester Holt. Doorman.
Well, I didn't watch it.
That's not
racist. He got more directive as it went along with being a timekeeper, but he didn't stop the interjections and all.
I like fact checking Lester Holt.
Well, they're holding him to the bar of the Matt Lauer debacle, so that's what's better than that. So,
but I brought part of the reason I brought that up is because I know that's something that I personally struggled with when we started this podcast is the whole interrupting thing, and I was very vocal about that. And to me, it put it in context of what my intentions were and how it would come across. And it was interesting that when I would listen to myself, I wouldn't hear my intentions. I would hear how other people heard it, and none of us are women to my knowledge, and if one of us is, we do a good job of masking it.
Yes.
But I just thought that it was if you get a chance to read it, it's on Vox's website. It's not hard to find. But the biggest piece was.
Can I stop you for just a second?
No, you can't.
Okay.
Now you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got up to go to the kitchen to get some water, and how we run things is Wade we FaceTime with Wade. So the way we hear Wade is through earbuds. So Wade started talking after you stopped talking.
Is my Bluetooth headset on?
No.
Oh.
But I didn't hear any talking because I didn't have earbuds in.
Oh.
So I'm in there getting water thinking, oh, Brian stopped talking, and now they're just sitting around waiting for me to come back. Because I walked out on the debate talk, and now I'm in trouble.
This is called narcissistic personality.
On episode 13. So there's another article on Vox is it's titled Donald Trump's Strange Speaking Style is Explained by Linguists. And we're already, this is one of those additional topics that Chris was nice enough to let me bring up, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. But it's, again, for the people who are listening, I think it's something important for you to pay attention to. If you listen to Trump speak, and again, Wade, you listen to the whole thing, so there's a greater context. But if you listen to any of his debates, it's the same way. He speaks in sentence fragments.
Yeah.
And he has a significant number of
sequiturs.
Thank you, non sequiturs, which is basically where you say something that has no correlative value to the thing that's about to follow it.
Yeah. He speaks in refrigerator magnets.
Yeah. So for example,
no, those are both funny and you often contain complete sentences.
I didn't say he was good at it, Wade.
And they hold and they hold up pictures, and Trump does none of the three.
No.
Yeah. So my favorite.
He holds up processes.
My favorite example of the night was when talking about cybersecurity. He deferred initially to his 10-year-old son who likes computers.
I saw the quote. I saw that quote, and it's like there were more commas in the print. Quotes. He says this, comma, says this, comma, comma. Says. I mean, it's like he's running all this stuff together.
Well, and that's what the
but
article.
Well, he also referred to it as the cyber.
Yeah.
Equated to the internet.
So this article does a really good job of pointing out that part of what Trump is doing is related to the region he's from, that in New York, that area, that's how people speak.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, you complete other people's sentences. So for someone like Trump, who's a salesman, which is also part of how he...
I like salesman, but...
Salesman.
It's not Spider-Man. It's not Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man.
Moisha Spider-Man.
So part of what Trump does is really this. It's a business technique. It's a salesman technique where he's trying to build this relationship with the listener. And what makes him appealing to people, at least for this base, is that you can finish Trump's sentence. So the fact that Trump speaks this way in oration works great. But when you look at it, Caps, to your point, when you look at it in the written word, it looks like a giant word salad. It looks like drunk Trump. And
but the fallacy that's in there is to make it sound as if he's doing this deliberately or with some form of calculation. And it's not. It's just intuitive. He just brings...
I mean, he's a sales guy. He's a businessman.
Yeah.
He's treating this like he's in the boardroom and he's trying to close a deal.
So Wade, I disagree with him a bit. I mean, I feel like there is intentionality to this. That by habit, this is what he's done. I don't think he goes into the debate thinking, "Oh, this is going to be successful." I think it's just, this is what I always done. It's successful for me. I'm going to do it. So.
Yeah, but you also imply that he speaks in that manner, as if he has the option to speak in another manner.
I'd say there's probably a combination of the two.
Yeah, I see your point. I think if he wasn't so vain and he would actually let people who know better than him say, look, Hillary Clinton's really good at debate. Yeah, you kind of need to know the subject matter because you can only talk shit for so long. I think his vanity gets in the way of him actually being a good debater.
And well, see, I don't think that's true either. I think he can talk shit ad infinitum and that his base will not waver whatsoever. I don't think... I mean, to a rational, discerning person that watched the debate last night, he came off as an idiot. He came off unprepared. He came off as a reactionary child, emotional, that couldn't string two thoughts together, self-contradictory, and flat out lying about every
the China,
No, insert opinion here was probably a lie. Yeah,
and every one of his constituency isn't going to change their opinion of him whatsoever.
No, that's true. I still feel like that we've seen moments of Trump, and I've seen self-effacing moments of Trump where he's funny, where he on talk shows or on his own show, where you recognize that there is someone in there who's capable of doing what Hillary did, where she admitted that, look, I was wrong about the emails. I'm just not sure he's comfortable. I actually think he's so freaking insecure that, Wade, to your point, he's almost incapable of doing it. It's not something within his mental functional or emotional functional self.
Well, he is able to be categorically humorous. He's not without a sense of humor, but that's not a quality I'm looking for in a leader of the free world.
I would be looking forward if maybe you were Jon Stewart and I knew you could be funny and then kind of also be smart, not just be like super big. So, but there is I think at the end of this article was a really good quote. So this is actually what I shared on our cheer up, we're all going to debate page, which Wade thinks is awful.
You were much better off to begin with. It was more.
I know the bearded. Look, I love the bearded paradox, but there's a reason I did it, and I wanted to tie it in, but that's another story. So the end quote to this article is by this gentleman, one of the professors. Last name is Pullum. Leadership is hard. It needs discipline, concentration, and ability to ignore what's irrelevant or needless or personal or silly. There is no sign of it from Trump. This man talks honestly enough that you can see what he's like. He's an undisciplined narcissist who craves power but doesn't have the intellectual capacity to exercise it wisely. So, Wade, I think that's your exact point. I think that's what you articulated.
Yes, but none of this is relevant. See, that his base doesn't make decisions off of what is deductive or logical or related to capability. That's the shortfall of his opposition, is to assume that the voting base will make a decision off of rational evaluation of issues, which has not been his approach or his strength in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, they don't want to think, though. They just want to be afraid of something and someone to tell them, "Hey, I'll stop you from from causing you harm." Okay, that's good enough for me. Next, let's go.
So, exactly.
Chris, I know how much you like to talk politics.
Well, it speaks to what Wade said. That's why I didn't watch. That's why I could only watch 30 minutes of it, because I knew it's not going to change anything. He's going to look like an ass, but it's not going to make a difference.
And they're gonna cheer him on.
Yeah.
For being an ass.
Well, because his narrative is necessarily that, and it was a good point. Hillary, you've been doing this for 30 years and you haven't changed anything. I haven't been doing this at all, so I'll be successful. How is that even logically sound? How does that even?
It's not. There is one legitimate reason to be a Trump supporter, which most of his supporters, when they're interviewed, they don't think about it, and that is that he is an outsider, and that it's the "fuck it, let's see what happens" argument. That we are so dissatisfied that we've come to the point where we are so disenfranchised with our leadership and our system.
Let's elect a monkey.
Let's elect a nutless monkey and see what happens. And
I see what you did there. Nutless. You went back to the Trump statue.
I didn't think that until I said it, but because I've told people I would write in nutless monkey before I actually voted for Trump. But
yeah, but unfortunately, he is the nutless monkey. So if you put in nutless monkey, the associative property would give him the vote. So you can't write in nutless monkey. So.
Yeah.
Cheer up, Brian.
Trump's not going to be president?
All right, I'm just ready for this to be over.
They ain't over yet.
The whole
Are you done?
election.
But I mean,
election. I'm ready for the election.
Yeah, but
to be
you
over
and Dana
with.
are voting for Trump, so it's probably hostile right now for you to be
we're
part
not.
of this.
Here's the thing with this.
Why not? God hates you.
Yeah, you and Eric are both voting for Trump,
Yeah, that's right. Eric and I are both Trump supporters.
Well, wait. I've heard that statement a lot, that I just want the election to be over so we can get on with moving to not hearing about it.
Wade's about to slam you, dude.
I honestly think, and I have, I'm an independent, and I have voted both ways over the history, etc. And in a lot of ways, and in years past, I often said I don't expect much from the president himself except to look good on television and not embarrass the country. But this election, I think it's not going to end on election day. What happens with this one is going to have repercussions that either way is going to reverberate socially for us as a nation for years to come. I feel like this is it's a social tipping point, and either way, and I'm not saying either way is going to be positive. I think there's going to be negative repercussions either way this turns out, and it's not going to end. It's going to cause escalation. Things only escalate in social environments, and they're going to cause a cascading effect no matter what happens with this election.
I'm just tired of people talking about it, is all I was talking
It's
about.
not going to stop.
You don't want to talk about it anymore?
I'm tired of hearing about Trump, and I'm tired of hearing about Hillary and emails, and I'm just done with it.
I agree with Wade, though. I think that
it's not going to stop.
There's such a division now, and we are, quite frankly, division is based on fearful, uneducated, partisan people, and the people like us, who I consider reasonable and just are looking for, like, holy Christ, can you just, as opposed to the unholy one. Can we do something that's productive that at least helps the citizenry and, makes life a little bit better for those who are less fortunate? It's almost like we need a good war, because wars unite people. So
it's the decline. It's like the Roman Empire. We're going down the tubes.
Yeah,
that's it. We're done.
But cheer up, Ryan.
What?
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Hey,
that's what I said.
Up the Twin
that's what I'm
Towers.
saying about the Roman Empire. I mean, look at, if you study history and compare what happened at the decline of the Roman Empire and parallel to things that are happening today.
It was neither
Nostradamus,
holy,
baby.
Yeah. Nor was it Roman.
Or Romans. Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay, so let's transition out of this. Let's try to transition into something that's edifying.
Oh, you didn't let me throw in the Talking Heads quote that things fall apart. It's scientific.
Oh yeah. It is a wildlife, Wade. I think
Wade was leaning forward, ready to quote, and then you just.
Did you just say wrong song?
No, that's the right song.
That's the right song. Thanks.
No, things fall apart. It's scientific.
Look at Mr. Businessman. He's talking wild.
You are right. No, I was thinking it was burning down the house, but no, you're right.
So I know that we're going to talk about hobbies at some point, right?
We can skip that because I think we're at.
You can fix anything in the editing room.
Okay,
we're at an hour.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and bounce into Week in Evil real quick, because we just talked about someone who was just flat out evil. So
because I haven't talked enough already.
Why don't we die?
All right, so let's go ahead and hit the Week in Evil, and then we can bounce on to Look at My Thing.
All right. Since we're already on the world of geopolitics, I want to bring up something that will not go away. It assaults me every day that I pull up Facebook in my news feed due to the miracles of data mining. Facebook has determined that I am interested in seeing Russian women shaking their ass to rap music. And they're not wrong. So that just proves the miracles of big data. But I want to talk about Russian twerk teams. It's an assault on our American culture. It touches on racism, sexism, and geopolitical cultural warfare. And I don't even think it realizes it.
Are you sure there's nothing else that you want?
So I'm assuming, I don't know, you're all heterosexual males, but I don't know that your data mine and Facebook generates these. I get them constantly, and they're not even the same ones. When I say plural, it means that and if you Google search Russian twerk teams, it's not like it's a one group thing. It is a phenomena in that there are schools of Russian young women that are out there learning how to, hello, Carrie, how to dance like this, which, to be honest, I don't think that twerking is, it's almost camp. It's so ridiculous to watch. But so there's a lot of questions that come to mind when I see this.
What are they wearing?
One, of all the things in American culture, this is what the Russians decide to appropriate, which makes me think, is it deliberate? So they're choosing to do this. Two, this is a predominantly African-American thing in America. So is it somehow inappropriate racially for a bunch of white Russians to do it? And is it an attack?
That's a drink.
I was about to say, that's a drink.
So where's the dude? So where's the dude? So, and three, Russia's a notoriously sexist society. It's misogynistic beyond pale. So the popularity of this particular form of dance amongst Russian women, is it a lash out against the sexism, or is it just perpetuating it? It bothers me. I put way too much thought into ass shaking.
I'm just curious why the cookies and the data mining are determining that you need to look at
Oh, fuck, you know me.
I don't see this as evil. Is it just me? This is.
No, it is an assault on America.
I don't.
Look, the Cold War was won by us perpetuating blue jeans and Coca-Cola on the Russians. That and creative financing for a war in Afghanistan and nuclear detente and some other things.
Yeah, it's probably more the last two, by the way.
So it's kind of like the Olympics. They've chosen this quintessentially American thing to latch onto and outdo us. Because if you search for American twerk teams, there's not a whole lot of news feed there for that. But there's hundreds for the Russians.
Is Miley Cyrus like the most popular performer in Russia at this point?
No. Like I said, it's not Miley Cyrus. They're listening to hardcore rap. It's all stuff you won't hear on the radio. And I want to know, I travel a lot internationally, and so the things that other countries pick from American culture to appropriate or that they use to mold their perception of us is utterly bizarre. I mean, and they formulate these caricatures of us. But what is it about this particular thing? Is it the zeitgeist that has made its way to the top of our own culture, that this is what other countries perceive us as, is rampant ass shaking and decide that they want to do it better than us? Because they do, I'll be honest.
Because we're twerking for America.
Yeah, exactly. Now that's a song I can
Yeah. Look, Wade, I think that I think in our entertainment...
First of all, am I the only one that sees this stuff? Am I the only one that gets bombarded with it?
I never see this.
On this show, yes.
Yeah, I don't...
Sorry. Yeah.
Did you look at any of the links?
Do you have them? Did you have the...
Were there links?
Yeah, I put like 4 of them up there on one note.
Oh my God,
and that's like 4 out of 200.
Sexy.
See,
Russian
you didn't even do the research.
Actually, I sadly did not. I wasn't even aware these were here. Why would this not load? I mean, don't recognize that. Are you freaking kidding me?
And now he has a virus.
Yeah. Wade, I got to be honest with you. To me, this is more. I feel like this is more representational of someone recognizing that America is an entertainment-driven culture, and because we are an entertainment-driven culture, that this is more factual than not, and it's sadly a representation of our culture, which I guess does make it evil, now that I think about it.
So the question is, does that mean the Russians are taunting us? Or are the Russians trying to adopt it?
Okay. I think they love it.
I think this is actually pretty hot, Wade.
I love it.
Yeah. There's nothing evil about this, dude. Yeah.
No, but see, you haven't taken it.
I don't want to see it from your perspective. I like the perspective that I'm looking at right now.
No, the actual artistry of it is
like machinery.
You look at that, and all you can really think of, your mind goes blank, and you go,
they're making Algodon.
But,
like a rectal loom.
Rectal.
You talking about like a loom you would make a
blanket
with or something?
It's an ad for chiropractic commercials, because all of those women are going to be crippled by 35.
Maybe, but they probably recognize that in the hip hop community, you can make a lot of money if you can wiggle that ass. So,
but that's in the hip hop community. That's not Russia, and the hip hop community is black, and they're all white.
Yeah, but maybe they want jobs in America.
They're taking our jobs.
They're taking our jobs.
Yeah, Trump's not going to like that.
They're taking jobs from hardworking African Americans.
Trump's going to build the Berlin Wall again.
Well, it's already proven. Trump's already been accused of only hiring attractive East Europeans at his resorts. So
yeah, well, he's got a lot to pick from, according to those 2 videos I just looked at.
And like I said, that's 2 out of 100.
You know what?
200. 400.
What I like is that you ended your series of links with "it period does period not period end."
Period.
Yeah. What? Oh.
What?
Oh no, your video just paused for a second there. That was scary.
Oh no.
Alabama Ghost.
Alabama Coast.
Wait, what? So,
Coast, Alabama.
all right.
That's a KKK.
So, we could move on to look at my thing.
Let's.
We want to save the hobbies for another episode?
Yeah, I
'Cause it's
think
not
so.
going anywhere.
Yeah,
It's his thing. and
No,
he's
let's
saying
save it.
he's
Yeah,
saying
let's save
shave
it because I mean we're already over an hour.
Okay.
And
Your mom's over an hour.
dude,
She'll never get up.
All right, everybody. I've got something I want you to see. Come look at my thing.
Look at it. Come on, look at it. Look at my thing.
Look at it.
Look at it.
Look at my thing.
that's moving.
Look.
Do it. Do it now.
So I will go ahead and kick off Look at my thing because mine's going to be really, really quick.
I don't believe you.
So here's what's funny is was talking about setting goals, and I joked with where we are on the trail, and I joked with Chris I'm set a lot of goals, and set too many goals, and realized I can't afford to set the goals. And Chris is like, "Yeah, we kind of know that." I said, "Yeah, you could probably talk to Caps about that because I'm famous for trying to fit as many things as possible into one day. That cannot possibly happen.
I have 20 minutes. Let's go get a haircut, shop for shoes,
Go to the gym, change the tires in the car." Build the deck. So my thing to look at is the new show called This Is Us, and I'm not going to say anything about this show because so who's next? Because look, Chris, you so
And
Wade.
my thing is the album Who's Next.
So Wade, I don't know. Did you enjoy Parenthood? Did you ever watch the show Parenthood?
I never watched the show. I enjoyed the movie many years ago. That was it.
So, but you haven't seen This Is Us, I would imagine.
No,
Okay.
no. Movies about families and kids and people doing normal things have no appeal to me whatsoever.
Okay, so
But Parenthood's not about normal. I mean, it's I don't know.
but it's families. That's what
Yeah.
it is. Have you seen This Is Us yet?
No, but I think I know which is that the one
With the guy.
And
The
the,
head
and, the,
and
and the
the-
girl, and they have legs, and they say things.
I don't want to give it away because you said you weren't going to say anything about it.
Well, so
I
it
don't
basically
wanna-
starts off with this couple, and she's pregnant, and he's doing it's his birthday, and the premise is that there are these four characters who have birthdays on the same days, and they're trying to and the story is basically telling it from these different perspectives. So the pilot has a really nice, and Chris saw it. The pilot has a really nice twist to it. I like it because I loved the show Parenthood, and this unlike Wade's interest, my interest actually is I like shows about family. I like shows that dig into the complexity of family and the problems that you have in relationships, the conflict. I like the conflict. And when Parenthood went off the air, I was actually really, really sad. So when this came on, they first showed the commercials showed this guy and his wife going into labor, and there being difficulties. And then it showed this black guy meeting his father, who is a recovering drug addict, and then this really heavy girl who's dealing with her weight, and then her brother, who is incredibly attractive and who's on his own show, who is objectified as a man, which I thought was interesting because they're taking this character, who I actually know from a soap opera my wife watches, who's a really good-looking guy, but it's doing what we would normally do to women, objectifying the women. I don't know if they're going to be able, like any pilot, I don't know if they're going to be able to maintain what they started, but it's super good. If you like these things, if you like these family dynamics, and Wade, I would ask you to watch just the pilot and see if you enjoy the dysfunction that's presented, because the way the character narratives will eventually overlap is actually pretty cool. And I mean, Chris, you didn't see it coming, right? Because I asked you to watch it.
No, not at all. I didn't see the twist coming at the end.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm interested to see how they maintain.
Yeah.
Are there spaceships?
There are no spaceships.
Not yet.
It's very reality based.
Yeah.
Are there ghosts?
There might be.
Not yet.
Are there murders?
There might be.
All right.
Look, I would just like you to watch it just to get your perspective on, yeah, it sucks and this is why, because I just think it asks some interesting questions, and or it will inevitably ask some interesting questions, but there's just a sense of community. I mean, we didn't touch on this because we didn't go into the hobbies thing, but we were going to touch on community and what it means to be a citizen, and what it means to elevate yourself beyond your work. And I feel like this show is that sort of artistic thing, is that it's asking you to sort of step back and reimagine family. You like that?
Reimagined family. I'll watch it. I think I've seen the previews for it. I need to.
He's leaking into everything.
I know, nieces everywhere. But that's my thing. So I just wanted to touch on that and really promote that.
We looked at your thing.
Yeah, I'll zip the fly up and put it back in.
Zip-a-dip.
So, Chris, Brad Academy is interesting.
Brad Academy is interesting. I saw this movie type thing on Amazon Prime Video. Basically, it's a documentary about a academy for spoiled, rotten children, which is not a new thing, but it's in China, which kind of struck me as odd.
Isn't that like part of the reason?
Because I always assumed the Chinese children were all good.
Well, at least
kept in line.
At least the boys were, because the girls aren't allowed to be born. So.
And that's part of the deal. Because of the one-child rule, these kids have no siblings, so they're spoiled. They're
an only child.
They're only children. And so they grow up and they become shitty. And it was just weird seeing Chinese kids do that. I'm so used to seeing American kids being shitty, but to see Chinese kids do. So what they do is they make them walk like a long way.
Are they carrying things when they walk?
No, they just walk. Like miles and miles and miles. And they walk farther and farther away from home. And it actually works. It gets them in line.
Huh.
And they don't mistreat the kids. If there's something happens,
like
kid gets
them
hurt,
or anything.
They don't make them keep. Yeah, it's not cruelty, but it does teach them a sense of camaraderie with their other kids, and pulling each other together to get through this thing. And
so the kids so a group of kids walk together.
Yes.
Okay. So it's boot camp.
Basically, that's what it is.
How old are the kids?
For Chinese kids, ages I would say 10 and up.
Okay.
But it's a quick watch. It's like 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Is it on? You said it's on Amazon?
Prime Video.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's called Brad Academy.
Brat Academy.
There'll be a link on the website.
Yes, so. Absolutely.
When that
comes up.
When you leave.
No. You're working on last episode.
Oh no, I know. Yeah. So Wade, Shadows of Brimstone game. You have two here.
I threw in two because I hadn't decided which one I would talk about.
Oh, okay. So are we doing the Fireman novel or the Brimstone game?
Well, since you already led in with that, I'll go with Shadows of Brimstone.
Okay.
It is a game. It is a board game. And I would say that I game probably even more frequently than Caps on a regular basis due to I have access
we played it.
I have access to a group of friends that are not like game store gamers, but our house has become the place where we game,
and no children. That's an important thing.
No children. And once a month we have nerd night at our house, and we have a congregation of adults who drink and play board games, and but we play more frequently than that too. There are deeper gaming that takes place in between. But Shadows of Brimstone is a game that I kickstarted. And for those that haven't kickstarted or looked at Kickstarter, it's a magnificent forum to help spur the development of things you're interested in. And it has also caused a renaissance in board gaming. It's enabled both independent people who have good ideas for things to produce their games that wouldn't otherwise. And it's a forum for established game companies to go above and beyond to produce really, really exceptionally high-quality products. And that's what Shadows of Brimstone is. It's by an existing game company that already makes good games. But Flying Frog Productions, yeah. So for the price of kickstarting the base retail game that I would buy off the shelf, and I saw they were kickstarting it, and I love all their stuff they've made before that I have. So I'm going to end up buying this anyway. So I paid for the Kickstarter, and for the price of it, I got both of the base games and then a ton of custom, all of the expansion sets and tons of custom materials and things that you wouldn't normally get. So you get lots of cool things by kickstarting. So I would And it's not just games. You can kickstart whatever you're interested in. Somebody's trying to promote it on Kickstarter, and there's an opportunity. So I would encourage you to go look at it and browse around. But Shadows of Brimstone is it's what we call a dungeon crawl. It's a thematic game with miniatures where you go explore an environment. In this case, it is a Weird West game. It is a combination of horror elements, very Lovecraftian. I like to call it Cowboys and Cthulhu when I try to describe it to other people. But it is the general gist of the game is you have a group of Western personality types. Each player takes on a character, and you explore the mine for the objective of whatever your particular mission is for that particular scenario. And you build the board as you go, which is Brian and I both share liking games where the board is different every time you play, where you generate the board.
I'm sorry, wait, is that like Settlers of Catan where you kind of like build the board as you go? Is it similar?
Well, that one you build the whole board and then play on it, so that falls into the idea that the board's different every time. Okay. This, literally, as you explore the mine, you start out at the mine entrance and you have the board for as far as you can see, but as you go further and further, you draw cards and they tell you which piece
puzzle
to play
pieces, and they're like puzzle pieces. So you make the dungeon.
Yeah, you build out the mine as you go. And the whole premise is that there are extra-dimensional portals, and there's all sorts of monsters and things. And it has a whole lot of theme and flavor to it, and it does a good job of establishing tension. You literally feel on edge, like your chances are not good of surviving this, and it builds up to the climax very well. There are literally cards that you add to a stack that are called Growing Dread that... as things happen, you add to this stack, and don't get revealed until the final climax, and they add to the enemy's capabilities at the end. So as they get added, you know that whatever's at the end is going to be that much worse and more difficult. And so it does a really fantastic job of building tension, and it's very good with the Wild West theme. And the miniatures that come with it are exquisite. They're larger than normal size mode. They're usually 25 millimeters. These are 35 millimeters, so the detail on them's a lot. The only negative is that it comes with so many miniatures that in order to keep the cost down for retail, that you have to assemble them like models. So it took me forever to glue together all the miniatures for the game. But
Jess was saying when we played that she was working on her, was it FPC? What is the cert she's working on?
CFP, Certified Financial Planner.
Okay, and she was studying like 16 hours, and he was building models at the same time. So,
yeah, I'm looking at this on a website called Board Game Geek.
Oh, you've heard of that?
Good website.
Yeah, it's a fantastic website.
This is rated at 8.1.
Yep.
That is high for there.
Mm-hmm.
Complexity rating is 3.36 out of 5. Is that considered?
It's an easy game to pick up and learn.
Okay.
It's very intuitive, but it has a lot of depth. It has a lot of replay value, and so on.
And the playtime is 2 hours, according to this as well.
It can go. We played for how long? We was 4 of us playing, and you were running it, and we played for a couple hours.
Okay.
Yeah, we only played. It was about 2 hours.
Yeah.
To play a session, and so that's about it.
That's the second board game we got. You had last week. You had
yeah, but it was kind of weak because Wade wasn't there. I tried to talk about Star Wars Armada, and I couldn't run him anybody to bounce off of. So
doesn't mean you can do it this week.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
All right,
no, we're not.
Okay,
I do. Before we move on, I want to pose something to us as a side project. Now, I know that Fulford has had negative experiences with gaming, and a lot of it extends back to adolescence and being exposed to Dungeons and Dragons, which is a combination of D&D is a combination of improv theater and tactical wargaming kind of mashed together. And as you're an adolescent, most of the emphasis is on the tactical wargaming side, where it's all about the numbers and statistics and things, and less on the storytelling. And then as people who play progress into adulthood, it shifts more to the storytelling aspect. Now, there's a game that I've played, and Brian and Chris have both played it with me.
What?
There's a role. It is a role-playing game that focuses exclusively on the storytelling aspect. And I think, Fulford, you have an interest in improv and improv theater and these sorts of things. But there's a game called Fiasco where the game aspect of it, is solely a mechanic to spur the storytelling. And it basically is a game that forces you to create a Coen Brothers-esque story. And I think because it involves very little gaming, and it's mostly interaction, that we should do a session of Fiasco and record it. Just one, so you can experience that type of game. Two, it's funny as fuck, and I think it would be entertaining for us to experiment with.
Okay. Done.
Yeah, I think we should do that. That's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah.
So,
all right, we'll set the date. You gonna do it, Chris? Yeah, you're doing it. Yeah.
You're a little too excitable there. Yeah.
All right, Caps, you're gonna close out. Look at my thing. The novel S.
Yeah. So Wade turned me on to this novel, and I visited him a couple weeks.
Wade turned.
He does.
To novels.
To novels.
I have that effect.
It's a novel way of turning him on.
So the novel is called S. So it's written by J.J. Abrams and a guy named Doug Dorsett.
J.J. Abrams?
So the guy that did Lost and this other dude. I think
so. The novel is far too complex for anyone to understand and has no closure.
Yes. Oh, actually, it's really cool. So it's been equated. You like
not far off.
Yeah, not far off. You like Lost, right?
I actually thought that even though it was totally had no closure, it was interesting.
Okay. So this novel has been equated to a print version of Lost.
Okay.
So the novel the novel's called The Ship of Theseus. And it's about a guy that Theseus? Yeah. Did I say it wrong?
I knew what he meant.
Yeah.
It's Theseus, yes.
Did I say Theseus?
He said Theseus.
I was saying it's close to
Theseus. So the novel in itself is written about a guy that loses his memory and he's on a boat and there's weird things going on the boat. So, but what's cool about it is in the margins of the book, it's like a library book that's been checked out by several people, and there's margin notes that people have penciled in. So it's a conversation between two different people.
Just real quick, does this have anything to do with Theseus's paradox?
I don't know. I've not gotten that far into the novel
so
yet.
Theseus's paradox is basically if you have a ship, you have a new ship, or you have this old ship, and you were replacing. Let's say it's a wooden ship, and you replace each board of the ship. But as you replace each board,
is it a new ship, or is it a brand new ship?
Right.
Probably.
Okay.
I can see where that happens. But what's cool is it comes in like a slipcover, and it looks like an old library book. And there's margin notes. So there's notes between these two people that are discussing this writer and about what everything means in the novel, and it's at different points in time. So if it's like a black ink, it's the male at a certain point when they do the first read through, and then if it's like purple, it's a different time after they've done more research. But then there's also pencil notes from somebody else so there's like a novel within a novel, that there's like a conspiracy going on. And then in addition to having the margin notes, you got like little things stuffed in there. Like you have a newspaper clipping, or you have a mimeograph of a German, like a letter in some German language. And you're supposed to, like, you go through and you kind of read the story, read the notes, and you kind of piece everything together. So in that way, it's a lot like in the first or second season of Lost when they started putting the websites up. And you would go to the website and you'd find something out. So in that way, it's a lot like that. So it's really cool. I read the preface and I'm starting to read the first chapter. And but it's just really neat because it's the Lost in novel form.
That's cool. 472 pages. If anyone's interested, so it's a good size. It's a read.
Well, but it's the margins are really big.
Yeah, that's misleading. Yeah. It's challenging to read because it's. And we had this discussion when Brian was down between me and Brian and another friend of ours who's read it, and about the strategy to reading it, because you have the novel itself, which is it's a narrative fictional work, but that's just the beginning, because the whole concept is that the author of this book was a mysterious figure, and there's certain mysterious circumstances around his life and death. and the two protagonists that leave the notes in the margins are researchers trying to unravel both the aspects of his life as well as secrets that he may have hidden in the text of the book. And so do you read the whole book itself through and then go back and read the liner notes, or do you read it page by page and discern the different times at which, because the notes, as Brian said, are in different points in time. So there's a lot going on there. And then there are the external props that come with it as well, that they're not there for no reason. And so there's a lot. It's a puzzle. It's not just a novel. It's a puzzle. And so it's exhausting to read just a page.
And that's what because I was finding what I've done is I'll read, like I read the preface, and then I went back after I read it and I read the margin notes, and then I read as I, once I get through a chapter, I'm going to go back through the margin notes, read them, and then read any inserts that I might find, and then trying to figure something out from that or see where that all ties in.
Oh, go ahead, Brian.
No, it's just a really cool concept. I mean, I love like shows about conspiracies where something's happening and there's always these, side people that are doing something and nobody knows about everything. So this kind of appeals to me.
Yeah, this is, man in the high castle, etc. Sort of thing. It's very meta. It's very self-referential. And it's like Lost. It may not necessarily be satisfying at the end, but the journey was so fascinating and engrossing that you're willing to forgive any shortcomings. It's fascinating the level of detail and attention that was put into creating it. It's really enjoyable.
I'm going to include a few links. There's when this episode goes to publish, there's some interesting papers that were actually written on this narrative form.
Yeah.
The joke in my head that was going on is, as you guys were explaining this, was okay. Well, obviously this is never going to be an audiobook, and one of the things that are said about this book is that this is supposed to be a book that you have to hold.
Yeah.
That the way the actual narrative form requires you to participate in this book as if you've come upon it and you are experiencing almost a discovery of a diary or something like that. So
that's exactly it. And the book itself, it's made. It comes in a slipcover book.
He's got the book. Yeah, you have the actual book. So
I actually have it in the hotel room because I went to revisit it after talking to Brian.
Oh, that's funny.
But it actually looks like an old library book. It has, the checkout history in the back.
Oh, it's actually really cool how
it's
they did
worn and stained, and then it's, it has the liner, the people's script where they've handwritten their notes in the pages, and then it has the newspaper clippings shoved inside.
Wow.
And so on.
Yeah, just the way that they did it. The whole how they packaged it.
That's a pure aesthetic experience.
It's very much you like hold it. It is like, oh well, I'm stumbling through the library and I found this really old book. Oh well, wait, somebody wrote in this. So I mean, you get you get drawn into the whole.
It's back to that transcendental experience.
Yeah.
No, that's actually a good way to sort of circle back on the show, right? So that will probably be my Christmas vacations in Colorado. That will be my book I take.
Take it and let me know, because I'm reading through it now, and I'll probably reread through it again once you get it. Okay. Let me know once you get it, and we'll all discuss. Chris, you don't like books.
I like books.
Wade only likes metal music. He doesn't listen to our podcast. Caps hates music, and you hate books. What do I hate?
You hate everything.
Everything.
So
for just a little bit.
So what we're going to do, and I really want to circle back on this, one of the things we were going to talk about is this article about hobbies. And it's actually probably good we didn't talk about it because I had shared it. Caps reminded me that I was the one that shared it. I forgot that I even read it. So I thought Caps was going to come with this. Well, as I read it, I got to thinking about Aristotle and Locke.
Because that's what you do.
And all these political and Marx. And the idea of how we, express... Harpo. And how we express ourselves through our labor and how flawed that is. So when we do that, which will probably be episode 13 because episode 12 is the zombie episode.
Zombie
right?
episode.
Zombie episode coming up.
In honor of
next.
The Walking Dead
Yes.
season premiere, which is October 23rd.
Yes.
Which I will be in Asheville seeing a band of horses in concert. So if you're in Jacksonville,
Not
How
the
do,
group.
how
Not
do
the group.
horses play instruments? Like they have hooves. They don't have.
these horses have opposable
They're
thumbs.
custom instruments.
Think about it.
Think about it.
Think about it.
The strings are huge.
Yeah, so if you're in Jacksonville for whatever reason and you're listening to this, please go to Sunray Cinema to watch Walking Dead. It's a cool place to go to watch the show. But after that, I want to focus on this. I think this is gonna eat up some time. So
You've never said that before.
Yeah.
You've just done it, but you've never
at
actually
least
said
at least I think it's gonna eat up some time. So please come prepared if it falls flat on its face. And I have 3 people looking at me going, "Yeah, that's not interesting." So a few things to pimp up.
Pimp.
For the love of Christ.
You know what? We're not going to talk about. We're not going to fucking talk about iTeens because I'm getting I'm getting to iTeens,
Yeah.
twerk teens, anything. I'm so tired of fucking begging people to review us on iTunes.
But if no one listens to you, no one reviews it.
Oh, hey! I told somebody at work,
Yeah.
Drew, if you're listening and made it to this episode, I'll buy you lunch if you come and tell me you listen to this.
And Drew, what I will do is I will set your wife free if you review this episode.
Yeah, review. I mean, Drew's a guy I work with. He listens to a lot of podcasts, so I mentioned to him, "Hey, I'm a podcaster." He liked the name. He liked the idea, the whole segment. Look at my thing. He thought that was funny.
Cool.
And I said, please let us know, review us, let us know what we're doing wrong, what we're doing right.
And if you guys are promoting it on social media, go to Facebook and promote it. You know who I'm going to get on?
Who are you going to get on?
I'm going to get on Nice. We went and we reviewed him. I think we gave him 5 stars.
Oh, I gave him 1.
Good. Well,
Wait,
it's
no.
because I told him it's a waste of time. Horrible.
So we have
podcast.
iTunes. If you're listening to this, for the love of all that is holy, just again, if we suck, just review it.
The problem is that I think everybody that's listened to this
Probably doesn't.
has reviewed it.
You know?
Two reviews.
Yeah.
Wait
And
to review it.
Oh, I did.
Okay.
I
I
won't
also
review it.
think.
I just don't
reviewed
feel
it
right
on
reviewing it.
Facebook.
I'm on
I
the
didn't
fucking
review it
show.
on
I won't do it.
We have this. We also have the website.
I do this because I enjoy.
Because you what?
Because I enjoy talking to you fucks. I don't
Yes,
need
you do.
I don't need external validation.
I'm not asking for. Look, even if they tell us we suck, it's not validation. That's criticism. I'll take anything. I'm a whore.
You clear.
Good.
Clear.
So we have that. We also have our Facebook page, which is actually we're getting new.
Yeah, we get
new
a
viewers
lot of
every-
heat on
yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah, we get a lot of heat.
We get a lot of heat.
We have a couple of dislikes.
Do we?
Really?
We do. People don't like our
Cool.
page.
I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, I went in and I was.
Oh, that's awesome.
When I was responding to my sister-in-law Beth, who thought that our title was funny, and then we had a nice conversation with I think Eric's wife, the Trump supporter. If he should be listening to this because at no point.
No, that's Eric's niece.
Yeah.
Eric-
Don't creep it out.
She also likes Trump though. He's married to his niece, so he supports Trump and he's married to his niece.
No longer married to his niece.
Okay, it's
His knees.
Those things don't work out over the long haul.
all right. So we've got that. We've got our Facebook page that you're more than welcome to follow. We have Cheer Up, We're All Gonna Hike because we are.
Of course we are.
At least-
November 11, 12, 13.
Yeah.
Tallulah Gorge.
Tallulah Gorge in November, and then Teray State Park, and then hopefully, if all goes well, October,
Next October.
Foothills Trail. I think I'm going to stick with the Foothills Trail. Then we'll do Benton McKay, maybe at some other time. That's our goal.
Yeah, those are all just words to me.
We also have Wade's favorite site, Cheer Up, We're All Going to Debate.
Yes.
which used to be the Bearded Paradox, but is no longer. I've actually had someone try to join the page multiple times, and they had no image on Facebook, and they pretty much just created an account to join our page. Pretty sure it was a bot of some sort.
Probably.
Yeah.
So,
They
but,
have no faces.
But if you want to join it, you'll probably have to contact me because it's pretty exclusive. I try to only keep people we know.
And people who will side with you.
Actually, no, I got my friend Michael Denton who doesn't
He
side
stacks
with
the
me.
deck.
He doesn't want people to side with him. He wants people to argue with him.
That's
I
why
like-
I said it.
I like conflict. Why are you causing conflict? I see what you did
Yeah.
there.
Bing, bang, boom. I didn't even know I did that.
And again, the zombie episode is up next, so we think this will be good. Eric's niece, I think, wanted to be a guest on that show.
She kind of backed off of that, though.
Oh, did
she
she?
wants to be on it if Eric's on as well.
Look, I'm totally cool if we can find a way to get all these people. Are they in Jacksonville?
No, they're not even in the same city.
That's probably
One's in Tampa and one's in Atlanta.
Hot Atlanta.
GA, Silkenau.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's it. So again, episode 12 is going to be the zombie episode. Episode 13 is going to be about hobbies, which I think is kind of cool. It's a guy, I really like it. So, you guys have anything you'd like
14
to say?
kittens. Anybody else? 15. What are we going to do? 15.
We're going to get ready for our driver's test.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. And then episode 16, we're going to have sex on.
Talk about balls.
Talk about balls.
All right. Well, that's
perfect.
Excellent. All right.
So, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Hit button. Hit button now.
You can feel the sun, you can feel the sun on the soul of me, and you can get off the